Kevin, welcome back for one more segment in our decking series.
All right, yes, thank you.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a good idea for us to talk about maintenance of your manufactured decking product. I think there's probably still a fair amount of people out there that when they think of manufactured decking, they think of no maintenance. When in all reality, it's a low maintenance or very low maintenance product. It needs something. So could we start off just by maybe talking about the basics of what you might need to do on an annual basis?
No, that's a great point. Yeah, the cleaning and care is really important of the product, especially here in the Pacific Northwest. I mean, our weather's really tough on any outdoor product, and I don't think there's any outdoor product that's not going to require, any cleaning or care out here with all the rain and dirt and trees, especially.
Sure.
So I field a lot of calls on that part of it. But I think some basic stuff, if you take our earlier generation product, that's wood plastic composite, prior to 2010, those products required chemicals to clean it.
Okay.
So, our first generation product, we just said bleach and water, 50-50. And then there's some deck cleaners that came out there, So you have specific deck cleaners and deck brighteners that'll work really well on that product. But even today in our cleaning care guide, we have earlier generation and talk about what chemicals to use on that. So somebody could always refer to that.
Okay.
But our new stuff today, and that was a big reason, when our CEO, Ron Kaplan, started in 2008, his first thing on board was to put together a group of engineers, the best around in plastic and chemical engineers and all over, and develop a decking product that's going to meet all this list of features that customers wanted with their decking products. So cleaning and care was a big one on that. So really with the Transcend product, you're looking at soap and water cleanup. Simple as that. So no chemicals, and which is a huge benefit, because if you're starting to use chemicals, you got to dilute everything around, or you kill all your flowers around your deck.
Yeah.
So having just soap and water, and then also the ability to pressure washer it. Today you can, find a 5,000 PSI pressure washer at any hardware store, where 20 years ago you'd have to go to Industrial Supply House to get one. So we wanted to be able to pressure washer. People are doing the sidewalks, the siding, the roofing. So everything outside in the north, they were using a pressure washer to clean it. So it only makes sense for us to have a product that you can use a pressure washer up to 3,100 PSIs and really clean that surface out.
Okay.
So really, that clean and care has come a long ways.
Yeah. So basically, probably most manufacturers have a capped composite technology these days.
Yeah.
Most of them are really requiring soap and water, simple green, something like that.
Yeah.
And I would assume on power washing, definitely, there again, read instruction manuals so hey, do I need to have a fan tip on there, and I need to stay 2 feet away from my board, whatever. I know, maybe Trex Transcend is super durable, but some others maybe not so much. Well, that's super, Kev. I appreciate that. I wanted to talk also about a product category that we've touched on in the series here, is just the PVC boards. And from what I've learned over time is they tend to react a little bit differently to certain things and certain situations. So maybe we could touch on some of that.
Yeah, the PVC boards can have a kind of like a reaction to anything petroleum based. So really anything made petroleum based, whether it's a barbecue mat, a welcome mat, anything rubber hoses, pool, so anything rubber, and that it's kind of like it creates a reaction, and over amount of time it will kind of discolor that surface.
So a rubber
so you want to be careful with that.
Okay, things like that. All right. The other one, Kevin, that came on my radar a couple years ago was potential challenges with certain sprays, maybe like spray sunscreen or insect repellent, things like that. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, any of those sprays have some petroleum in it because they're an aerosol. Okay. So yeah, you definitely got to be careful with those sprays as well.
Okay, makes sense. Those are good tips to keep in mind if you have a PVC product. You and I talked a little bit about some other things that could happen, some other things that could potentially end up on your deck. Could you touch base on a few of those? Yeah,
one I'd always encourage to look at the cleaning care guide, and especially ours. We're constantly testing products that do a great job cleaning the surface, but just don't try and do something yourself. And a lot of calls I've been fielding is like just even paint and having paint droplets. something you can do is do a drop cloth on that surface. And a lot of times, even like new construction, we generally use that deck is done before the interior of the house. So they'll use that outdoor deck as a staging area for finish work. So they'll have table saws, they'll have all your equipment out there, and they'll just be, cutting away and working away. Now, the Transcend product is really tough and durable and strong. But now, if you're getting into the enhanced product, it's going to be a bit softer. Okay. So some of that equipment, if you start to slide it around, it could create some scruffs. So on that stuff, I even like to suggest even putting some ram board on there and protecting that surface while doing the trade work on that. But try to protect the surface. And if you do get something on it, don't just try to solve it on your own or come out, I'm going to try this chemical, that chemical. I've even had some people try a wire brush or something, but you could discolor the surface if you don't use something that we recommend. So I definitely go back and try to get with the manufacturer and have them recommend something, because we've got some very talented people back there that, constantly testing this stuff. So
well, I can see a lot of people going to their garage and looking around, or their laundry room cabinet. Oh, I must have something that'll do that, messing around, potentially making it worse.
That's
or non-fixable. And I think you're right. I know your company and probably some of the other leading manufacturers have people sitting in rooms answering these kinds of questions all year long.
Yeah.
So long story short, don't experiment. Pick up the phone, hop on the web, and make a proper decision, and not cause a bigger problem.
And if you have to experiment, do it on a place that's not visible too. So you can get a sample from one of your yards, right?
Something left over from your project, maybe.
Yeah, and I would duplicate that question. Like, so if it's paint, put another paint on that small surface. Okay. But what I've seen is people do it like right outside of the sliding glass door, right in front there, where it's the first thing you see. Yeah. You could also pick an area of the deck where it's not that visible, right? And practice, experiment there. Just don't pick the most visible spot on your deck, right? So I would encourage that. But first and foremost, definitely reach out to the manufacturer and look at the cleaning care guide and find out what they recommend. Yes.
Well, great tips on how to take care of your low maintenance deck.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kevin.
All right, Jim. That was awesome. Okay.